And it is time to say goodbye to this PC. So let's look at that gunk the Primo Chill View left behind in the soft tubing. Do a little dust check after almost a year. Let's see how the bottom filter did for us. It's stuck. I think because I swapped the screws there. Let's see how that did. Wow, look at all that cat hair. Fantastic. Kept all the cat hair out of our system. Kept the system pretty clean. You got a bucket? Sweet deal. Let's bring it over. Alright, let's do some draining. Okay, so I got a little overspray. Not the point. Gonna unplug these even though we're doing this without power, just in case there's residual power. I'm gonna unplug this stuff. I may. Nope, got it. Okay. You can see this motherboard I painted too. It's originally in black. Also painted the CPU block, which I've got some plans for on the remod of this. Alright, real simple to drain this loop. Could not be any simpler. Open the air hole and fill port on top. Right now we're just using it as an air hole basically. Make sure everything's tight and clean in there. Yep. Everything's dry. Take our drain hose.
Thingamajig. Because I think I call it a thingamajig. I like calling it a lot.
Our other
Screw it in?
cat. Yep, screw that in. That's working.
And I think it's good.
Yep. Make sure this doesn't pop out of here.
Okay.
If you're gonna do it that way, do it that way, I think. Make sure you don't drop this, okay? Alright, so we're all set. And all we have to do is this. Watch this. Oh wait, should I slow-mo drain it?
Yes.
Okay, let's... Look at those suds. That's pretty gross. That's what was left behind. And I guess it just leached onto the soft tubing. Because the rest of the parts are dirty, but not near as dirty. But look, the liquid went completely clear. This is Primo Chill View you're looking at. And the block's not super dirty. I've had and seen much worse. So thank goodness, it's really just the tubes, which are easily replaceable. And I don't know if I mentioned, the whole reason I'm doing this is I was contacted by a fellow PC part picker. His name's Manzy, he or she, I'm not sure even. They're from the UK, and they contacted me specifically about this motherboard, which is really like the last of its kind, very hard to find. It's a Sabertooth 3.0, 990FX for the AM3, last of the good AM3 stuff, if there was any, and it's a beast, like, for what it is. It has a lot of features you will not normally find on AM3, like a water pump header. There's a USB Type-C on the back. It's pretty great. By the way, Chloe, excellent job.
I have work to do though.
Oh my goodness.
Play.
All right. Let's do one more lift and then we'll cap it off. Okay. It's a pretty simple drain on a water-cooled system. First thing we got to take out here is the graphics card, which is going to be nice and easy because you can see the water level. We see exactly where it's going to be. We can detach things without worrying and know where we're going to pour it from. And since everything's soft, we can just kind of go piece by piece and not have to worry. as I absolutely love this case, I do have to point this out. I'm just trying to get the motherboard out. That's it. Now, granted, water cooling makes that harder, but you saw, like, this system was pretty easy to manage. What's actually really keeping me out is the motherboard is so tight. These two bottom fans have to be removed just to even unplug this stuff. I mean, look, the motherboard goes to the absolute floor. So I stand by my word that this is a fantastic case. I just don't really think it's for your first time builder. It's really tight. It works, but it's tight. You know, this, I could barely fit this one rat in. This I had to drill out for. Honestly, they should make these work with a 280 standard because it works. You see, that's a 120. Those are 140s. That rad works great up there, and it actually makes more sense since the power supply is over here. You've got more flow back here. But yeah, just to get out this motherboard for this guy, what work. You can see now this fan, I can't even take it off without taking out the leg. I mean, the case is a lot of work. It's definitely not plug and play, but it's gorgeous. The airflow pattern, bottom top this way, is phenomenal. I'm going to raise the feet on my next build because that's the one thing holding it back. It should be higher so you have more intake. And yeah, look at that little fitting work I did there. Nice. We'll clean things up and we'll have a new probably Ryzen build in here because I already have a motherboard. Well, there you have it. I literally had to take a leg off and a fan to get the motherboard out. How many cases do you know where you have to do that? So the 303 gets a 10 out of 10 for style, 10 out of 10 for layout, airflow, all that stuff. Maybe a 7 out of 10 for airflow. It'd get a 10 if it was just taller, just the legs. But I mean, it gets a 0 for build friendliness. How many cases do you know where you have to take the rubber off the legs to find the screws to take off the leg to get the fan out, just to unplug and change your motherboard? It is the tightest motherboard, top to bottom, ATX layout I've ever seen. Okay, that aside, the pros, power supply being in the top is phenomenal for water cooling. You don't have to worry about drip down. If anything drips, it's going to go in your fans. Not as big a deal. The airflow layout is perfect, top to bottom. Just need to make the case taller. That's it. The top rad is a great idea for showing off your fans. The build looks great. They could add a vertical GPU like I did. This aluminum bracket I added, which worked out pretty well. A little dusty there, but it works. And overall, yeah, I really do think it's a great case moving forward. Just put a sticker on it that says for advanced builders, because most newbies, like, that's going to really frustrate them, having to take off a leg to get your motherboard in and out, because you really should. I've seen a lot of builds without these fans populated, and you really do want to populate these. They're critical to the airflow design. You want to populate all 3 of these slots, which you can do with an ATX board if you try. All right, let's get this board cleaned up, sending it to Manzy from PC Part Picker. Elephant in the room I forgot to talk about. Needless to say, my blocks weren't that dirty, but can I get this to focus? Yeah, the soft tubing, the Primo Chill View, whatever magic they're using, completely leached on. But blocks ain't too bad. Not perfect, I'm gonna say, but ain't too bad. Alright, so now we've got this board all cleaned up from Manzy with the 16 gigs of HyperX, the FX8350, and the Asus 3.0 revision of the 990FX with a painted shroud by PollyTech. Good trade-off to help me upgrade our system. I'm wondering what I can do to up the ante on this system. So I was thinking of going balls to the walls. so let's check out chassis here. Pretty much rigged up every fitting I could to get them cleaned. Used some old tubing for the drain, so that way I'm not wasting clean tubing. This has got to be clean because it's going through everything. We got this rad that's probably just easier for me to clean all in here than to take out because it is custom mounted. Basement's open. These fans have got to be cleaned. I like these fans a lot for cheap fans. They are PWM. And I like the back design, how it's nice and clean. I don't know, I think they just look good in a lot of builds, and they work well. They're high airflow. So for this open intake on the bottom, I actually like that they create, you know, more of a breeze and then leave these as the static pressure. So we're all set there. We've got our graphics card taken apart, well drained. It's going to be further taken apart and cleaned. And you can see a funny thing happened here. I had this UV light kind of behind this where you couldn't see it because remember it was vertically mounted, so the UV light would shine out this way and it was really nice. But look what's happened here. It's actually it discolored my backplate. There's also some tape there you could see. That could be cleaned off. That was from holding the light. But yeah, it actually took the paint or the finish or whatever this is right off. I guess the harsh UV. Crazy. Got this out with all its bent fins. I'm going to have to put this in something where the fan covers all those bent fins. That was occupying one slot, and I like that it was easy to fit there, but it always looked awkward to me. This is probably going to be our next project. This is an AM3 bracket, and we're going to see if we can save ourselves some money and not buy a new bracket and convert this to AM4 by moving the screw holes. And then I'm going to use some of this wood embellishment I made and stained myself to kind of make like a shroud over it to cover, you know, the not so sightly double hole thing I'm going to have going. Because it's probably not going to look that clean because the holes are so close to each other. So the wood will cover that up nice. We've got our legs. I'm planning on putting wood on those as well. Going to redo some of the wood on the graphics card. Where is it? Oh, don't tell me I lost it. A little piece. There's like a little piece of wood here it is. That came off the graphics card. That I want to redo right up. Let's like goes around there. Kind of caps it off, makes it look nice. I liked putting this here because this was just like so blank. And now I'll have wood on the GPU and on the CPU, which will be really cool. They'll both be lit white as well. Here's our CPU block I painted. And that's got to be cleaned, of course. No problemo. So that's what we've got. We're going to keep the same graphics card. That graphics card is 8 gigabytes. It's more than good enough for video editing and 1080 gaming. Remember, this is the editing rig, not the gaming rig. So the R9 390X is going to be just fine. Now, what we are upgrading, let's go over here. Oh, we've also got a ribbon cable, which I may or may not use for the vertical GPU mount I built. Something I forgot to mention. I also broke this fan trying to get it out. You can see the cables. So I might swap it or something or try and fix it. Here's our motherboard we're going to use. I had to swap this out because